Hi everybody, I'm Bruce Wilkinson. I write a blog called brucecampaign.org, and I'm going to try and do some video blogging, which I haven't done before. And so, anyways, I read this article. It's long, super long, and so I thought I'd break it up. It's probably going to be like 9 parts. So this is part one. I'll start with kind of introduction, and the title of the article is "Redefining Sex." No thanks. All right. So, part one, redefining sex? No thanks. And there will be probably 8 more to go, all about 5 minutes each. So, I'm critical of a gender ideology that contends people may self identify as the opposite gender. The main promotion of this impossible position is made by people who self identify as part of the transgender community. Not only do they say it is possible, they claim they are living it and they deserve the access and protections afforded to a gender and sexual orientation of their choosing rather than the one that reflects their sex. If this didn't have negative repercussions, then I may have considered this fantasy all well and good. Unfortunately, it does negatively affect others, and the truth matters. A person can't change their sex, and they therefore can't change their gender. My position is that they are expanding the social construct of their own gender, and that is fine, but I stand against their campaign to claim the opposite gender. While I reject their gender claims, it's prudent to consider trans instead as part of a sexual culture, and they should be treated with respect for their free speech, free assembly, and human rights. If they were born a member of the protected sex, then they get those protections. If they are actually LGBT, they shouldn't be discriminated for their sexual orientation. Many people calling themselves transgender vehemently disagree with this assessment. They feel that a trans woman lesbian should get automatic access to the protected spaces of women and be considered LGBT, even though they are in reality a straight male. It's unfortunate that I take the position of supporting them as a sexual culture while rejecting their demands to be recognized in every sense of the word as opposite gender when they are not is seen by them as being against them. Disagreeing with them and their allies on their fundamental reimagining of sex and gender is considered a contentious act by them and one that must be aggressively confronted. This seems to be part of a strategy of gaining these radical changes. At the institutional level, this gender ideology has been gaining traction within the elite circles. Elites who see these changes as important to a boutique element of their social circles with little worry of negative consequences. Once the elite are convinced, the populace must simply be subdued with a sort of acclamation of acceptance. This acclamation of acceptance is done through the use of extreme bullying tactics aimed to vilify and silence opponents, as well as pushing only positive stories. This coming election cycle has been elevated to the red and blue circus as a wedge issue. This, in an odd way, actually symbolizes how vast the elite acceptance has become of this new ideology. Ultimately, blowback doesn't matter to the elite on an issue like this. Their social circles will do what they want. No rich trans person will be harmed by the debate. And that may sound cynical to some, but I'm not cynical. It's matter of fact. What is mind blowing to me is that listening to radical feminists has come to be considered right wing. This is another example that shows how useless the terms right and left have become. I consider the trans movement born as an elitist patriarchal movement that ultimately moves towards eliminating the acceptance of LGBT, erasing the protections of women, and pushing the ideology of transhumanism. I'm certain most trans identified people don't see it that way. They're just being themselves. But they're not necessarily driving this train. The billionaire class pursues actively such transhumanist delusions as part of their dreams of immortality, the ending of death itself, the separation from all physical constraints that they believe they will soon find themselves. Now, I'm not alleging a massive conspiracy. I'm indicating what's shared together in meta philosophical elements while pointing towards farther off horizons. People who love the real world should be concerned at how these wanton desires affects our material well-being. All right, so that's part one, and the next will be coming, and the next one is called "What is Trans?" Thanks, and you can check it out at brucecampaign.org if you prefer to read it.